All right, I'll leave it up to you. Do you want to do Leatherface? And then your options are Crappie Toppy Johnny, Beefy Frito Burrito, or Rowdy Roddy Piper.
I like the first one.
Crappie Toppy Johnny.
And then we'll end it with Danny.
Oh, yeah, and then you go Danny at the end, like you're Jack Nicholson or Arnold Schwarzenegger.
All right.
Red Leatherface, yellow Leatherface, red Leatherface, yellow Leatherface, red Leatherface, yellow Leatherface, Crappie Toppy Johnny, Crappie Toppy Johnny, Danny. Nailed it.
Yeah. You guys feeling pumped?
I think so.
You know, they say a mind is a terrible thing to waste. But what would happen if one man filled another's with the scariest films of all time?
Who are you talking to?
Nothing. Ready to watch some movies?
Aw, yeah.
Yeah. Hello and welcome to Matt Makes Zach Watch Horror Movies. I'm Matt.
And I'm Zach.
And I made him watch a horror movie. What did we watch this week, Zach?
Alien.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, what's that beverage you have there, Zach?
Oh, why, Matt? We had... That's why editing is great. Oh, why, Matt? We have a little sippy sip, a little drinky drink, because...
That ASMR.
Anyways, we have a guest. She's an associate of the elusive exclusive Tim. She's a podcaster in her own right. She hosts a show called Boozy Movies. It's Hannah.
Hi.
Yay.
Everyone.
So in honor of Hannah, we made a little alien themed drink. If you at home want to drink along.
It's delicious.
It's
really good.
Yeah. It's 1 part coconut rum, 1 part vodka, 1 part watermelon liqueur, and a pineapple juice.
Sorry, one more time on that watermelon? Oh, okay, just
and
checking.
1 part
liqueur?
friendship.
Maurice, no.
C'est la vie.
So Hannah, tell the listeners about yourself, your association with horror and all that.
Sure. Hi, I'm Hannah. I hated horror movies growing up. They terrified me. I didn't watch them until 7th grade when I was involuntarily forced to watch Saw with my sister and her friend. And I stayed up all night on my parents' bedroom floor waiting for Billy the puppet, if you don't know, that's the little guy on the tricycle from Saw, to come out of the closet and stab me to death. But after that, I would say it grew kind of like an admiration for it. And I got over it and I got very into horror movies and just film in general. So I love horror now. I'm all about it.
Do you have like a favorite horror movie?
Yes. It's a tie. I'm not going to reveal one of them because you may do it in a future episode.
We are doing it.
But one of them, without a doubt, is Alien.
Surprise, that's what we're doing.
What if we were doing like Nightmare on Elm
We were talking about Saw 5.
We tricked ya. And here's Billy out of the closet.
Isn't it weird that I remember thinking like Billy was like a major part of that movie after I watched it.
Right.
And then I watched it like 2 years ago. I was like, oh, he literally like rides by in the background of a shot like
all
one time.
he does.
I haven't seen it.
Sorry.
I don't know.
Put it on the list.
Oh, it's on the list. Don't worry. I love that first Saw movie.
Yeah.
I love James Wan.
Yeah, because I think we talked about like for that torture stuff, we're just doing like
Only
major,
Saw.
like,
For that
big
torture stuff.
Yeah. But Hannah, do you want to talk about like what you do, your podcast and all that?
Sure. I also have a podcast. I co-host a podcast called Boozy Movies, where each week we get inebriated and opinionated, taking shots at one film, both literally and figuratively. You can find us pretty much everywhere podcasts are streamed. And our big thing is We're not film critics. We don't claim to be. We just like movies and we like alcohol. And if you like those two things, maybe you'll like our show.
You guys really should like it. As like a big fan, I'm like fangirling. She's the thing, guys.
Yeah, because that's kind of the same approach we take to ours. Is like, because we talked about like rating the movies and like making lists, but I'm like, I just want to like take it in and like not have to think about that.
All right, so should we jump into Aliens?
Movie.
Yeah, we know it's one of Hannah's favorites. I love the first Alien. Big Ridley Scott fan. Zach, what did you think upon a first viewing?
So about that.
Oh no.
Here we go. I just need everyone to know Zach is wearing a shirt of famous horror characters with big butts.
Yeah, they're called Butt Guys at Lovitzo on Instagram.
He's great.
Phenomenal shirt.
He's an amazing artist. For Inktober, he did 31 Butt Guys, horror Butt Guys. And they're great. I love it so much. There's a little alien on here too.
There is.
In theme.
So be careful what you say, Zach.
I feel the need to explain myself before
Is this going to be a it's okay to like or not like a movie? Everyone is valid moment?
No, because I didn't not like it is the thing. But I feel the same way about this as I did the first Blade Runner. Like watching it, I'm like, oh, this is a Ridley Scott movie because it's very slow. But I'm like, it's not
deliberately paced.
It's not. It doesn't feel as slow as Blade Runner just because like it's horror, so there's the suspense, which I liked. But I wasn't invested until Sigourney Weaver remembered the cat, and I was like, is Jonesy gonna be okay?
Save the cat, man.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's the same way I feel about Blade Runner is it's everything that I love, but the way the movie is structured and stuff is just, it felt very slow, so I wasn't super into it, but I do like it.
I'm having to like take my own advice about like it's okay not to like a movie right now.
I did like it.
Because you just picked like two of my favorite movies to be like, they're slow.
I did like it, but that's the thing. It's like I want...
how I feel about The Shining, where I'm like, there's some stuff.
Yeah.
You could find a place to trim this. Yeah,
it's
that's
like,
fair.
I want to like it more than I did. Pretty much.
I get it.
Because it's everything I love, but it was just, the movie was very slow.
Yeah. It's also from like that era, like right after Star Wars, where like everyone was like, I guess hero's journey, we got to have like an extra act that isn't really necessary after they blow up the Death Star.
Yeah, because I wasn't super invested until the last act. The practical effects are great.
This movie looks amazing. So, all right, let's jump in. We open on some really fantastic spaceship effects.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Ship.
Super influenced by Star Wars. Ridley Scott has talked about that a lot. Like he loved the lived-in feel of those movies. So he was like, I'm just going to steal that.
Where's Darth Vader? This movie sucks.
He did say that verbatim.
So I'm so glad I wasn't here watching with you guys.
I was too preoccupied drawing to debate anything.
Yeah, in our drawing, Hannah drew.
And apologies in advance for whoever watches that version of the show.
It looks great.
Yeah, it looks great. She did the little dude with the little xenomorph.
Yeah.
I did the best I could.
That's all we can ask for.
But, we're on the Nostromo.
Love.
Great name for a ship. No way.
I just forgot that's what it was called. That's the name.
And something causes everyone to be woken up from their cryo sleep.
I was very confused during that sequence.
Yeah, I kind of like that they kind of make you think that John Hurt is going to be the main character. Because he's like the first one out and they kind of focus on him for a minute.
Which one was he?
The one who gets the chest burster later.
Yeah,
Hellboy's
Kane.
dead.
Okay.
As always, I will simply be referring to famous actors by the movies I know them from. So Hellboy's dead / Ollivander.
Bilbo Baggins.
And Bilbo Baggins and Ripley. Because she's most known for this movie.
No, that one's just Sigourney Weaver.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's just awesome.
She is. You guys, I need to tell you something. Fun fact. There's a song someone wrote called Sigourney Weaver. And I used to listen to it all the time. And I highly recommend. Just need you to know that exists.
Good to know.
What kind of song is this?
It's very like almost Christian. It's like I'll sing you a little bit of it.
Christian. Yeah.
Yes,
I'm in love with American movies. I see one almost every day. And it just goes into like
Is
all
it like
of her
a chimey
filmography.
acoustic guitar? And,
Yeah,
okay.
it's so
okay.
good. Must listen.
I worship the Church of Sigourney.
I swear by the Church of
fantastic
Sigourney
church.
Weaver.
This was the same thing like I was saying about Jack Nicholson and Kurt Russell. The only thing I've seen Sigourney Weaver in was The Defenders. Nothing else. So this is my first time
so
seeing.
young.
Have you not
Zach.
seen Ghostbusters?
I tried this past Halloween, but I fell asleep. So I guess technically that was my first time seeing
And you
it.
haven't seen Cabin in the Woods.
No.
Okay.
Well, she's in that apparently. So
No.
No, she's not. She's in Finding Dory and
yeah,
Wally. Seen
She's
those.
in Wally?
What was
Who's she in Wally?
Now I'm questioning
Because
it.
I know in Finding Dory, it was I'm Sigourney Weaver. She was literally the nurse.
Oh.
Yeah.
She was the voiceover.
I didn't see Finding Dory. I hear I'm fine.
It was
You're
like
good.
an aquarium, and she was like the PO, like voiceover, like this is Sigourney Weaver.
Screw
Welcome
it.
to
Our movie today is Finding Dory. A
She's
masterpiece of suspense.
She's the computer in Wally.
Oh,
Ship
okay.
computer.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm like hearing it in my head. And I'm like, oh yeah. This is definitely her.
I will say the ship like design and everything of the interiors was really cool.
I believe Ronald Shusett worked on the designs, and so did a number of for all of the like human stuff. It was all a number of different designers that he had met. Working, the writer of this movie, Dan O'Bannon, had met working on the Abandoned Dune movie by Alejandro Jodorowsky, including people like Mobius, who if you know comic books, you know him. He's a famous French artist. That's also where they pick up H.R. Geiger for the Alien.
And for the egg chamber, they actually borrowed the band The Who's lighting for their stage.
That's all the lasers
Yeah.
when they scan the room.
Actually, or is this a
No,
joke?
for real.
No, like really. All right, so we're jumping ahead. We go around and we meet the crew.
Yes.
There's Tom Skerritt, who I don't know from anything else, so I just call him Tom Skerritt.
Which one was he?
The white guy with the beard.
Oh, the like captain.
Yeah,
I remember him from Shoes. Oh my God, Shoes. Remember that video? Sorry. Sorry, guys.
Wait,
Tom Skerritt is in shit.
No, he's not. But the mom from Shoes talks about Tom Skerritt.
Oh,
Throwback.
what?
She goes, Tom Skerritt.
Is that that YouTube video?
Yeah.
you remember that video way better than I do, mostly because I hate that video.
Anyway, we're on the ship.
So Tom Skerritt wakes up. Bilbo Baggins wakes up. Harry Dean Stanton, the Molly Ringwald's dad, from Pretty in Pink. And Yaphet Kotto, who's just badass enough that I just call him Yaphet Kotto.
Is he the guy with the headband?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's the best.
he's one of my favorite James Bond villains.
He's a James Bond villain?
Yeah, he's also in a Freddy Krueger movie
Why is everybody in James Bond movies that you bring up?
because I love James Bond and they filmed this movie in England. Yeah, we get to just see them kind of live throughout their day. I love that this movie is like, I think it's what you found slow, but intentionally kind of boring. Like, this is just their life. It is not like fantastical and impressive the way that like Star Wars or Space Odyssey are. It's just like, no, they're just like truckers, like picking up some oil and driving cross country.
Yeah. Also, I know you're not into video games, but there's a video game called Dead Space.
I know, very influenced.
Very
by
influenced.
Alien.
And I was like subconsciously comparing it to that the whole time because Dead Space, you're a part of the engineering crew coming to a ship that this already has happened to. So there's more going on. So I was also subconsciously comparing it to that the whole time.
Yeah, I get it. I think the other trouble with this movie, like a lot of the older movies we watch, is they were the first ones that did it. So now other things in pop culture have come along and either directly copied it or sometimes even improved on it in some ways. Like, I think of this movie a lot in comparison to The Thing, which I like a little bit more. But yeah, like, they're kind of the same movie and Alien did it first. So it's almost unfair to compare the two, you know?
Yeah. What do you like the most about this movie, Hannah?
I feel like the character of Ripley alone is a big one for me. That's another piece of another one of my favorite horror movies. Just strong protagonists. I feel like the great thing about Alien is the actual xenomorph is maybe on screen for like 7 minutes.
And it's always in shadow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't need that to feel the tension in this movie. That's what's so great about this movie to me.
Well, I think Ridley Scott always pitched it as it's Jaws in space, or it's Halloween in space almost.
Sure.
So they realized they got woken up because there's a distress call coming from a planet nearby. There's kind of some debate about what they're supposed to do, but then Bilbo Baggins tells them if they don't do it, they won't get paid. That's one of my favorite like scenes in the movie, like rewatching it this time, when Yaphet Kotto is just like, man, this is fucking bullshit. I don't want to do this. We are not on a fucking rescue mission. This is dumb. And then Bilbo's just like, you won't get paid. And he's like, fantastic plan, Bilbo. How do we go down there? Do you need me to land it? Like,
Yeah, I think my favorite characters were like the engineering crew, Ripley, him, and the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So they decide they have to go to the planet. John Hurt, Tom Skerritt, and I almost said Sigourney Weaver. No, who else goes with them?
Oh, the other lady, not Ripley.
Oh, Veronica Cartwright, who I forgot
yeah.
to introduce. She's very good in this movie also.
Yeah, because they all go down in a little ship.
Yeah.
Lambert.
Yeah, because they wake up because there's the SOS signal.
What they think is an SOS signal. So they go down and they find one of the most impressive sets still to this day, I think, in like film history, designed by famous European artist H.R. Geiger, who's super into dicks. That's why they're everywhere in this movie.
What?
It's true.
The alien's head is a dick, Zach. Its little mouth is a dick. I'm not even trying
It's
to
true.
be
There's
funny.
a lot of like symbolism
H.R.
in
Geiger's
this movie.
whole thing is like hiding like weird sexual expressionism in his art.
What the fuck?
And the alien is based almost exactly on one of his pieces from his book, The Necronomicon, that the writer Dan O'Bannon was like obsessed with after they met. He like H.R. Geiger like gave him a copy. So when he was writing the script, he said like, you know, the way that some people write for actors, I was writing for his art, like with that in mind as the monster. And specifically, there's a monster in it that almost looks exactly like the alien. H.R. Geiger has talked a lot about like, yes, the alien's head looks like a dick. It looks like a human penis. The facehugger has a vagina mouth with a dick coming out of it. Like, that was like their intent.
You know what? This movie is this is my favorite movie now. Opinion changed.
Dicks in space.
I mean, better title.
Now when I just watch this movie, I'm gonna be like, dicks, 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 dicks.
You should rewatch it and do it like
with that in mind, it'll like, whoa.
yeah, like CinemaSin style, where it's like bing dick, bing dick.
Dick.
Well, and then Dan O'Bannon has talked a lot about like his whole goal was he was like, every horror movie wants to scare like women. I decided to scare the men by having the tropes from rape revenge films happen to all the men in the crew, like the facehugger, and he gives birth to it.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, he flipped it on its head because Dan O'Bannon's a good writer.
Yeah, that's cool. When they walk into the ship, the first thing that they see that like is fossilized, was that like the thing from Prometheus or something?
It does come back in Prometheus. They explain it more. How do you feel about Prometheus, Hannah?
Not a big fan of that expansion, only because it touches a lot more on the AI part of the story, and I prefer the alien side of the story. So
they do kind of, maybe it's unclear. Like the movie keeps it pretty unclear if that's exactly what they're touching on. But it's called the Space Jockey because it flies that big spaceship. But everything about it is so cool and so influential. I mean, that's what the helmet he wears looks like Dream from the Sandman. Like everybody just copies this movie. I love it.
That's cool.
H.R. Geiger is a madman. He built most of the sets,
It's
or like
crazy.
was there to build them. He hand built the alien from an actual human skull.
Which part of it?
If you look in the head of the alien, there's like a human skull in it. That's just a human skull that H.R. Geiger owned.
Oh,
He's a weird dude. Dicks.
Dicks on Human Skulls, the movie. That's a
Alien 2, Dicks and Skulls.
That's a good topic though, Hannah. Like, is there any sequels to this movie that like you hate or like actually like? Because I know this movie has a couple sequels. It's not like a crazy
there was one
slasher or
sequel that's
anything.
better. So.
Yeah, Aliens, obviously, highly recommend Aliens, but
That's my favorite.
then
Is that the
there's
second one?
Yeah.
Aliens Cubed.
It's okay.
Alien Resurrection.
That's a hot
Which-
garbage fucking movie.
I will say he's right. It's not a great film, but there is one fun thing about it where Ripley throws
you're
a
talking
basketball like behind her
From
and
half
like
court and
just
makes
perfect swish, right? And everyone in the scene is like, what the fuck's happening? Like they're all like, great. That really happened.
Sigourney Weaver did it for
They
real.
were rolling
3 takes.
and she just swished it and everyone's
That's
like,
why
wait,
the one
what?
person that's not like, what? Is Ron Perlman, who is just like stoked.
Just
Like he
so
breaks
happy.
character and they cut away from him so fast. Like you almost ruined the take wrong.
Yeah, so you have those. You have Alien vs Predator. You have Prometheus. You have Alien Covenant. I think that's it. Might be
Wasn't
missing
there
one.
a second Alien versus Predator movie?
Probably.
Or I think Requiem.
Oh, yep.
Somehow worse than the first Alien versus Predator movie.
Then what is both your thoughts on the first Alien vs Predator movie? Because that's the only one I've seen.
I remember thinking it was really fun when I was 15. I don't know how well it holds up now.
Yeah.
I just
own it.
remember thinking it was like, what's happening? It's so dark. Like it was just
Oh, if
so
you think
dark.
that movie is shot dark, Alien versus Predator Requiem is literally like you cannot make out what is happening on the screen.
Beautiful.
It is not like, oh, they're in a cramped space. They're like outside. And they're like, better make it nighttime, no stars.
What inanimate object would you compare Predator to? Because we have dicks versus
Oh, well, he's got a vagina mouth.
dicks versus vagina mouths. 2, Requiem.
Dicks versus from Horror Master. Do it.
Who directed it?
I don't know. Just say the guy who did the dicks. I don't know.
Horror Master H.R. Geiger Combs. Dicks versus vagina mouths. 2. Requiem.
Requiem for a Dream. Another thing that I couldn't stop thinking while watching this, I was like, man, how have they not have like nailed a really good video game of Alien?
What is it? Aliens has a video game that's like Aliens Colonial Marines. That's supposed to be pretty good.
I don't remember, but I think that one was like really controversial because it was broken as hell. Like when it came
was
out.
it?
Yeah.
I just knew about the controversy, like canon wise, because they say that a character from Aliens is alive in that game, and he died in Alien 3, which is like weird.
Alien Isolation's pretty fun, actually.
That's the one where it's more horror than action, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I remember like the first person shooter one. That one was the controversial one.
Got it.
And there was
That's the
an
one I was talking about.
yeah, and there was an Alien versus Predator one that was like you.
Probably as hot garbage as the movie.
I remember playing it, and I don't think it'll hold up. But you played either as a human, predator, or alien, and it was like 3 like all against each other. It was pretty cool, but it was probably garbage. But I just remember it better than it actually was. But back to we're here to talk about Alien.
About a movie.
So this is where the Who laser.
Oh yes, when they scan the room, which I just love conceptually, but also much like everyone complains about it in Prometheus, but I would say like, yeah, to complain about it here, then they just go in. They're like, I don't know, we think we read life forms. We're just gonna forge ahead. What could go wrong?
It's probably fine.
I also like how he like put his hand down and he's like, oh, it's mist, and then like tries to and just falls over.
Yes. Or I guess in this one it's more excusable because they're basically like truckers in space instead of scientists, but I don't know. All the stuff to complain about in Prometheus, whenever they pick on that, I'm like, well, yeah, because they wanted a movie to happen, guys. Hellboy's dad gets a little too curious.
And then all of a sudden, Babu Frick jumps out and goes, hey, hey.
I wish.
That was the joke we kept making while we were watching it. Like, whenever Alien would pop out, I'd go, hey, hey. But yeah, and then a facehugger pops out.
Yes. Great effect. This movie is like, it's so simple. They said they literally bought like sheep guts at the market that day because this movie's so British. And like stretched like plastic covered with like rubber with KY jelly over it over the inside, filled it with guts, and then Ridley Scott, the director's hands, he just moved them like a butterfly underneath it. And he was like, and it was the creepiest thing I've ever put on film. Like, fuck my career. Like, because it looks so good.
Yeah. It's literally just Ridley Scott's hand.
Yeah, he was on, because it was like a false floor so that somebody could reach up and just poke on the rubber covered in KY jelly and sheep guts. And then the facehugger itself is literally just a hand puppet somebody wore.
Huh.
And was like, onto John Hurt's face.
That's cool. Because I like how that's a theme of like the directors and like head of like practical effects are like, no, let me do it.
Yeah.
Like just do it themselves.
Which is why it's such a bummer that a lot of like the Alien sequels, like after the 80s, all rely on the alien being like a CGI creation. Because the aliens in this look so good.
Yeah.
And all the CGI ones look fine.
I think the creepiest part about that scene too is, or when they bring him back up into the infirmary, is the face hugger's on his face, but he's breathing fine. Like there's nothing.
It's converting and feeding him oxygen.
Yes, there's nothing impacting him really. It's just like,
yeah, there's just
chilling.
nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Because they try to pull it off and it starts to strangle him. And they try to cut it and it bleeds fucking acid. It's the perfect movie monster.
Yeah. That was the cool thing about it, that I was like, there's literally nothing you can do, which Sigourney Weaver recognized and no one listened.
Yeah.
God, classic.
One of the cool things about this movie when Dan O'Bannon sold the script was he said, I did not write any character to be male or female. Everyone is unisex. Cast whoever you want. That is specifically how we wrote it. And that's how they sold it to the studio. So he was actually kind of not surprised, but like, oh, awesome. When they said, well, we cast this young actress named Sigourney Weaver. He was like, oh, good. She's going to be the lead, right? Like, that's awesome. It's always interesting to see that, like, the way you cast a movie changes, like, the meaning of it.
Yeah.
Because that scene with two men just plays out like, oh, they just don't want him to be in charge. And in this, it plays out so much more, like, meaningfully.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, they really resent a woman trying to be in charge, which just makes it so much more interesting.
Yeah, definitely. And this was like one of the first movies to do that, right?
Yeah. But it's the first instance of Ripley being like the smartest character in this movie.
Yeah. The only one doing the not horror movie thing to do.
And Bilbo Baggins being an evil motherfucker.
Because he just let him in all over.
Yeah, they had to save Ash. And especially like later when you find out his real motives. I love that like everything he does becomes so sinister. They've got Ash in the hold. Everyone's debating what to do. They try to cut it off. It bleeds acid so powerful it almost burns through their whole ship. And they're like, I guess we just have to wait and see what happens to our friend. I just like living in this world with these characters. Like, do you have like a favorite character besides Ripley in the movie?
No,
just Ripley. Not a Tom Skerritt fan.
I'm not opposed to anybody. I actually think that Lambert gets a really bad rap because she's at one point very like, are you sure it's not there? It should be there.
She's such a good character.
Yeah,
though.
but I love everyone else equally, I think.
Yeah, because I just like the engineering squad. Ripley,
they're so fun.
Ripley and her, and the two guys.
Like Ripley, number 1. Harry Dean Stanton and Yaphet Kotto, number 2.
Yeah, so I feel like they had the most like, no, this is bullshit. Let's get out of here. Let's do something.
Also, one of them owned Jonesy, so he can't be a bad person.
Yeah, because then the facehugger disappeared.
Oh yeah, it just comes off his face and they can't find it. And they do, and they dissect it. It's real weird and looks really cool. Again, more sheep guts.
More sheep guts and oysters.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. Oysters.
Oysters and shellfish and sheep guts.
Yeah, what was it? They just like emptied out like the hand puppet and were like, just fill it with some guts. Like
down to the market, please. Grab some sheep's guts.
And again, like sheep and oysters, I'm like, this movie is so aggressively British behind the scenes.
Yeah. Because that scene where Bilbo's like kind of looking at it, I'm like, that looks gross.
Yeah.
Like it looks like an actual alien.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Like, it's cool.
So then eventually John Hurt wakes up and he seems okay. So everybody's pretty stoked. And then one of the most famous scenes in film history happens that none of the cast knew was going to happen.
Oh, yeah. I think
except for him.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Because I think I heard something about that like a long time ago.
I guess it wasn't that they didn't know it was going to happen. It was like they did it once because it was it's a big effects scene. But essentially, like, when kind of punches and doesn't punch all the way through his shirt. They were like, oh yeah, that's the effect. And they're like, oh, okay. And they didn't tell them, actually, we are going to rip through the shirt and spray you all with blood and actual sheep guts, which then they did. So everyone freaked out. Like, their reactions are 100% genuine.
Yeah. Because, I mean, for me, like, that scene, like, is so famous that I already knew about it. Yeah. But, like, what was your guys' like first reactions to that scene?
It's horrific.
Yeah.
Truly.
It works. Like, it's as good as people say it is.
I actually don't. I'm trying to remember if I saw the Spaceballs version.
I saw the Spaceballs first,
Alien,
which is the best joke in Spaceballs, because they actually got John Hurt to do it.
Yeah.
And it busts out of him and he goes, oh shit, not again. And as an adult, that is now my favorite joke in that movie.
It's the best. You've seen Spaceballs,
No.
Zach? Okay. No, put that on the list. Not for this, just personal list.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, I already started watching John Carpenter movies that aren't horror.
You should, sir.
And it's been a great time. But yeah, because I already knew that scene was going to happen, so I wasn't like, but like when it popped out and just went, boom, like zoomed away, I was like, oh.
Love it. You really didn't understand that thing looked like a dick. It's a cylinder with a little mushroom cap on the top, Zach.
I was just worried about Jonesy throughout the whole movie. I wasn't thinking about dicks, Matt.
Well, you need to have better priorities like me.
Did you know about this, Hannah?
The dick thing?
The dicks?
Yeah.
It's not subtle.
Well, I guess I could pay attention.
Not only do you have the shape, right, but you have like the drippings.
Yeah. Well, and everything about its goal is to penetrate you.
Yeah.
When you said drippings, I just remembered the alien and the drool coming. Like every single time it was a close up, it was like drool coming down. Now I can't unsee that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good movie. So then they have to spend the rest of the time hunting it. They almost kill Jonesy at one point because they pick him up on the tracker. And the whole time, Bilbo Baggins is just in the background being like, oh, yeah, no, we gotta get that thing. Definitely catch it. No intel on it. It was definitely an SOS signal. Trust me, I'm Jack the Ripper from that one movie.
Trust me, I'm the guy who really loves the ring.
Yeah.
I was waiting for like him to go, and his eyeballs pop out. But yeah, so it scares away, so they gotta find it.
Yeah. So, but they gotta go find Jonesy because they keep picking him up on the tracker. So they send Molly Ringwald's dad, Harry Dean Stanton, the guy who gives the Hulk his pants in Avengers. One of America's great character actors, guys. Come on.
Clearly, because I don't remember any of the things you're referencing.
He's in like everything, dude. He really is. I'm not naming everything he's in, but he's in a ton of movies. gonna go Google.
Yeah, let me see.
But he goes to find Jonesy, and instead he finds that the alien is now full grown.
He finds a little foreskin on the floor of the alien. And then he's like, that's weird, and then just walks away.
The alien, played by Balaji Badejo, I'm probably butchering his name. He was just like a student from Nigeria who was really, really tall and really, really skinny. And Ridley Scott saw him and was like, would you like to play an alien? He is 7 feet tall.
Wow.
In the costume.
And that's the first time you see the alien.
Yeah. And they, like you said earlier, like they shoot the alien perfectly. I love that he's like hanging down from all the industrial stuff and he kind of blends in with it.
That's what I said towards the end of the movie. I love how like the design of the alien looks like the wiring and stuff of the ship.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that he built him out of, besides like the obvious stuff like latex and a human skull, and a dick model.
Obvious.
He actually, like, all the stuff coming out of the alien's back is like car parts.
Oh.
And then he would cover them in like silicone so they would look alive, which is part of why that design is so upsetting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the mouth was actually shredded condoms. True.
Just to make it more like a dick, and that's what's leaking the
because
the fluid.
We needed more to let you know.
Again, never mind. This movie is great. Love it.
See, context makes movies better, like I always say. just like dicks do.
I love that. Granted, they knew it was tiny at the time, but when they went to go find it, they brought a net.
Yeah,
They were like, yes, this thing bleeds acid. Let me just scoop it up and toss it out.
They can't shoot it.
Right.
Like, but I love also that just on this like super advanced high tech ship in the future, they're like, get the fishing net that we just have.
It's not even some like high tech, like
It's not even made of metal.
yeah, it's just literal rope.
Which is probably the biggest problem with like Prometheus, which is a prequel to some degree to Alien, is it's like the Star Wars prequels where all the technology is better than the first ones. You're like, wait, what happened? Who stole all your tech? Because it used to be like really cool.
Yeah, so then she's like, wait, what would this thing be afraid of, Mr. Ash? And Ash is like, I don't know, probably fire.
Yeah.
And he's like,
don't like heat.
and I just so happened to have this collection of flamethrowers.
No, I actually noticed this time. They actually ask Yaphet Kotto, can you go and get the different things that we use to like heat stuff in the ship and rig something up with some gas?
And he was like, yeah, 20 minutes.
Yeah,
I got
because
this.
Yaphet Kotto's the fucking best. I'm gonna make you watch a James Bond movie.
But yeah, which I liked how like useless the dicks were in this movie, but like Sigourney Weaver and like her engineering boys were like, yeah, we'll do everything for you. We got this.
Yeah, they kind of resent her, but also clearly like they're her team.
Yeah.
So they send Tom Skerritt to go up into the ducks to go alien hunting. Simultaneously, like the funniest and genuinely like a good jump scare when it just goes in the vent and just holds up its hands.
Yeah.
It's like, gotcha.
Now, did you guys watch the standard version or the director's cut?
The standard.
Standard.
Do you know about the director's cut, Hannah?
I asked Zach if we wanted to do that, but we weren't sure if it would make sense.
I think standard cut is best because it's the canon version if we ever watch any of the sequels. So
okay,
because there's a deleted scene where Tom Skerritt comes back. He is pinned up to a wall with all of the drippings from the alien, and it's implied that it's slowly turning him into one of the eggs, and that's where the eggs come from because the alien is a perfect organism.
Yeah, because that's what happens to the other guy. It's just an inhibitor for like to birth the alien.
Oh no! He's not gonna have a chest burster. It's implied that that's how they make the eggs. Is they grow the eggs out of people. Once an alien is born, it makes more eggs so that it can face hug more people. Which I don't like, and I'm glad it's not in this movie.
So it was just in the director's cut. It wasn't like in any sequels or anything.
No.
Okay.
In fact, the next sequel explains how the aliens are born, and it has nothing to do with that. So
okay.
How do you feel about it, Han? Do you like that idea better, or do you like what they do in the sequels?
I like the direction they take aliens.
Yeah.
I prefer that, but I feel like they jump around a lot in the later films.
Yeah, they could bring it back and it wouldn't matter. Like, especially like Alien Resurrection does not seem to be aware that there were other Alien movies.
Which number is
Last Jedi.
That is the fourth one. I'm a Last Jedi fan. So
I know you are.
What was he supposed to do? JJ's the one that put Luke into exile.
Oh, JJ.
At the end of the day. Hey.
Speaking of the devil, speaking of Tom Skerritt, Dallas, the role of Dallas was actually turned down by Harrison Ford.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Which one was Dallas? Was
Tom
that the
Skerritt.
captain? Or wait, the chest burster guy.
No.
The guy that goes, and he dies.
Yeah. The captain.
Oh, the captain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom Skerritt.
Tom Skerritt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Again, I literally only know him from this movie. Apparently, he was like the get for the cast. He was the only like famous person in Alien because he had done like 2 movies before or something.
Wait, was this before or after Blade Runner?
Before. This is Ridley Scott's first or second movie, I think. It might be his first feature length.
For 79?
Yeah.
So Ridley Scott was like, I'll get you next time, Harrison.
Yes. Oh, I'll make you hit a woman, Harrison. Not all of Blade Runner ages well, guys. You can't have him. He's mine. Oh, Ridley, you son of a bitch. Don't you touch my perfect boy.
You already took the spaceship scene. That's mine. You can't have Harrison. Harrison, you stay there.
No, Harrison, come back. Back, boy. Come on. I got a hat and a whip for you, Harrison. Come on, buddy. Hannah, you want to try your hand at George Lucas?
What should I say?
Whatever you want. What does George Lucas think of Alien?
I think it's just needs a little more explosions. Maybe some more ships. Just the one ship's not enough ships.
No one in this movie is even related. What are you doing? Also, fantastic
No incest.
job.
Thank you. A couple more ships, more incest, just general family stuff.
It's a family soap opera. Nothing else.
This doesn't rhyme with anything.
This needs more Jar Jar Binks. I don't know.
He's the key to it all. How much scarier is this movie if in the tunnel, when he turns and shines the light, it's Jar Jar Binks?
Misa gonna get you.
No, this is pod
All right,
racing.
deep fakes are happening in the future.
Huh?
By the way, you are in charge of a deep fake with Jar Jar Binks.
Oh, that would be terrifying.
Yeah,
Like putting Jar Jar's deep faking his face on in the Alien. Just be a giant Jar Jar dick. Could you imagine if George Lucas did a digital remaster of Alien?
They all just have lightsabers, and there's random aliens hopping around the ship.
a bad dance sequence.
It's perfect now.
Oh yes.
Just like the nightmares. Just like the nightmares.
I don't want to enter George Lucas's mind and what he has nightmares about. But we're here to talk about Alien.
Hey,
Okay,
technically we
so-
kept on topic.
Dallas has died. Parker comes back with Dallas's flamethrower and is like, I found this.
It's the only thing left. He said there isn't even blood.
Yeah, no Dallas.
Yeah.
No blood, no Dallas. Or something like that.
I think the other thing that gets taken away if you have that scene where he's just back, still kind of half alive later, is the impact of his death.
Yeah.
Because right here, it's like, oh man, what are they going to do? They lost the leader. Like,
Yeah. And this is where like Sigourney's like, listen, you fuckers.
Yeah, I'm stepping up,
I'm in
bitch.
charge. Especially you, Bilbo. Shut up.
Yeah.
So she logs into Mother.
Oh, she tells Bilbo Baggins to fuck off.
Yep.
I can use Mother now. And she logs into Mother. Sorry.
I am Mother now.
Which Mother is like the AI.
Yes.
And she's trying to find out like why they can't neutralize it or get the computer to tell her like what they need to do, and the
Yeah.
computer can't give her any answers.
And the computer is like, yeah, you guys can die. I don't care. Just get the alien back.
Yeah,
It's
that's
fine.
your only goal.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, Bilbo knows.
By the way, and Bilbo has the worst jump scare. He's like, in his best George Lucas voice, he just goes, I can explain this. That's
Yeah.
fine." He just pops up and really just pushes them against the wall.
Yes, and she tries to get to go tell everyone. Instead, he just attacks her.
Mhm.
But he's preternaturally strong.
Yeah.
No, you can't understand why. Until Yahweh Kodo comes in and hits him in the head, and he starts freaking out.
And he starts spitting up milk.
Yeah. Oh, before that, he also tries to murder her with a magazine. That has always
know.
confused me. That he's like, I could choke her with my bare hands, but I better roll up this magazine and put it in her mouth. This magazine with a hole for her to breathe through.
I didn't know what was happening. So I thought he was working with the alien or something and trying to like put alien down the
Well, you would think,
newspaper
or like
thing.
he's trying to make it look like he didn't strangle her, but then everybody comes in and he just keeps doing it. Like,
Yeah. It was very confusing. But then he starts spitting up milk and surprised he's a robot.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know at all. That was
yes.
a surprise to me.
You know who else was a surprise to?
Huh.
Dan O'Bannon, who wrote the movie. The producers really thought the script needed a second draft. One of them was Walter Hill, who's a fairly famous writer. So he wrote another pass on it and he made Ash, instead of just being like a traitor, he made him a robot, which Dan O'Bannon has always said, like, he almost fucking ruined my movie. I mean, it's kind of a little hyperbolic, but he's like, I gave him a perfect screenplay and he tried to ruin it. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Would this movie be better without the robot subplot?
I liked it.
I love it.
I love
Yeah.
it too.
I think I love Dan O'Bannon, but I think he's wrong.
I agree.
Yeah, it was like cool. I was like, whoa, that was like the only thing to surprise me in this movie.
And it's
I mean,
a cool effect.
Yeah.
Would it have changed much if he was just a normal person? No.
I guess they would have just tied him up.
Sure.
Instead of talking to his severed head.
They still would have flamethrowed his body.
Yeah.
At the end.
I think it added more of a he really doesn't care about any of you because he's a robot.
Yeah,
that
he
makes
doesn't.
sense.
He'll be fine.
I would say the one thing that's nice is like, I mean, maybe a human would know this, but Ash is explaining you can't kill this thing. It's perfect. It's a perfect organism. Whereas like that coming from a robot versus like a human is probably more.
Yeah, you just believe it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh, he's a computer. Computers would know. Like, that sounds dumb, but that's like the thing in the back of your head is like, computers don't make mistakes. Like,
him being a robot just explains all of his actions perfectly. Yeah,
like rolling up a magazine and trying to choke a person with it. But yeah, they knock his block off.
Listen to our Killer Clowns episode for that reference.
And then they rewire it so they can ask it the questions and find everything out in such a cool scene that was supposed to be, again, like I always say, like sometimes when movies get messed up, it's way better. They had an animatronic head of Bilbo Baggins and it was just going to talk. Yeah. And he would voice it later. It didn't work. They said something happened and the fake skin like shriveled up weird. So it couldn't open or close its mouth and it looked like a raisin. So instead they just put Ian Holmes under a table and we're like, go. I love that he spits up milk too.
Yeah. Apparently his innards are just milk.
Yeah. Apparently it was pretty gross because it's literally just milk. And he just had to sit under a table with that all over him all day while they shot.
Yeah, and once it dries up.
Yeah.
It's kind of an interesting choice.
Yeah.
Not like orchata or like something that might be better.
Right? Cinnamon.
They're like, yes, robots made of milk.
I think some of that is the same way that like you see a lot of horror movies, like the monsters don't bleed blood, because the more blood you have, the more the MPAA wants to slap an NC-17 on you. It's why like in the Evil Dead movies, each deadite bleeds a different color. So in this, I'm sure that was just their way around like, oh, it'll look kind of cool and it won't look like blood.
So then Lambert and Parker run to go grab like coolant or something. And then Ripley starts to launch or get ready to launch the shuttle. Yeah. To escape.
And then when this movie went from good to great, Ripley was like, oh shit, Jones.
Yeah.
And then goes to find the cat. And that's...
You always save the cat.
That's the most invested I was.
Yes. And that is when she discovers that they have both been killed, right?
Yes.
She finds Jonesy first, puts him in a little carrier, and then discovers that they've been killed.
Yeah.
By the alien.
But there's no alien to be seen.
Then she runs around and runs into an alien, and then just drops Jonesy and runs away. She starts activating the self-destruct sequence, and then tries to turn it off because she can't get to it in time, and then it won't turn off.
And then calls the computer as a bitch, as we all do.
I yell that on my phone a lot.
Me too.
And she like added an A instead of an I. She's like, you bitch.
No one says bitch quite like Sigourney Weaver.
She almost won an Oscar for it. So that's for our aliens episode.
But yeah, so she gets Jonesy back, hops on the escape shuttle.
She thinks she's safe.
Yeah.
And this is where it's sort of like the original Star Wars, where like logically the movie kind of should end after they save Princess Leia, but instead they're like, nah, one more action sequence.
First she puts Jonesy in the pod, and I'm like, okay, Jonesy's okay.
Yeah, he's gonna be fine. He can take a nap.
I can rest easy now.
Yeah.
But then surprise, the wiring is an alien. It was hiding on there the whole time.
And then she's gotta blast that batch out of space.
And toast the boy too, because he tried to get back in the exhaust.
That's a great sequence though, of just hurrying, like getting in that suit.
Yeah.
And like preparing for that. It's just one of my favorite things.
Like I got like Halloween vibes, like when she was in the closet. Like,
yeah, I mean the thing that I think this movie is most comparable to is like a slasher movie. A lot of people say like a haunted house, but I think like just the level of like violence and the way it's paced reminds me a lot of like Halloween or Friday the 13th. You're trying to find and destroy this unknowable killer who won't stop.
Yeah.
Like Michael Myers is a perfect organism. The alien is a perfect organism. She's a final girl, you know?
Just cut to Loomis going, he's perfect. He's a perfect organism. I shot him 6 times.
Space!
Michael.
And
Jonesy, get your ass away from there.
yeah, so she shot that batch into space and movie over. She got away.
Well, you think it's over. She shoots her with a harpoon gun. And you're like, that's the end. Hangs on. Got to get in those thrusters.
Yep.
Toasted him.
Bam.
Toast. And then it's over.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it?
Probably not. There are 3 sequels. Just with Ripley.
Does Jonesy make a return?
Maybe.
I want to see more Jonesy.
She does. Well, the movie, okay, so they blow the alien to hell, and then she kind of gets on to do the log.
Yeah.
And is like, everyone's dead except me. Also, the cat's fine. And good night.
Have you guys heard about the original ending?
No.
At one point, I don't know if this was in the Dan O'Bannon script or if it was in one of the different drafts Walter Hill like redrafted of it. They thought at one point perhaps it would be more interesting if Ripley lost. So it was going to be that basically all the stuff that happens to the alien happens to Ripley. Like she's trying to get back in and the ship blasts her off and stuff.
And the alien's like, no.
And then the alien sits down.
You batch.
And it starts talking into the microphone in Ripley's voice. Like, please send help. SOS.
Actually?
Yeah. That was in a version of the script at one point. Which is both cool and insane and terrible.
The little tongue alien just starts.
I hope so. Hello.
This is Sigourney Weaver. But also, like, it kept making that joke throughout the whole entire movie. What if the alien was just like sitting next to her and she's like, "Hey, ready to go?"
No, we're cool. I gotta get home, man.
Yeah, you guys took me away from my home.
Yeah, just drop me off back there. It's fine.
But that was Aliens.
Yeah, the end. Yeah, I love this movie. Should we do like talk about the making of it?
Yeah, behind the scenes.
There is a lot of cool behind the scenes stuff. A lot of really good documentaries about this movie.
Before that, what was the like reaction to it when it first came out?
Really good. People loved it. Like critics, audiences. It's just like there's a reason it has really entered the horror canon in a mainstream way. In a way that like something like Friday the 13th or Killer Clowns, like in horror communities are very beloved, but are not to most audiences.
Yeah.
This one was a huge crossover hit. It got the Star Wars bump in that every studio was literally anything set in space, every studio bought and produced. And it's one of the only ones to really like actually benefit from that because it wasn't something that they just moved into space. It was written to be that way from the start. Everybody was just like, good movie, like solid, good. Sigourney Weaver, she's gonna be a star, huh, guys?
When was the first time that you saw this, Hannah? Was this one of your first horror movies, or?
Definitely not one of my first horror movies. Probably like 15. I was probably 15.
Matt?
Oh, I came to horror late, like I always say. So it was that year I've talked about where I was like, I will watch all of the Evil Deads, all of Friday the 13th. And then somebody was like, you should watch Alien. So when I was like 19, I watched Alien. I was like, this is really good. Wow. And watched it like 3 times in a week.
So both of your reactions were like, I love this right away.
Yeah.
Totally.
Most people disagree with me. I actually prefer Aliens, the sequel.
Is that a hot take, Hannah?
I don't know if it's a hot take.
It would be like a hot take if I was like, I actually think Alien 3 is the best one.
I feel like there's definitely more happening in Aliens because you've already established
it moves a little quicker, but it's also just a different era of filmmaking where it's like if someone walks from one room to the other, we don't have to follow them.
Yeah. Was that Ridley Scott too?
It's actually James Cameron, his second movie. Yeah, he's an asshole, I know, but he makes fucking great movies.
He does.
Is there anything that either of you don't like about this movie?
I guess like the closest I get to a con is I do kind of think they give Veronica Cartwright's character a little bit of like short shrift, like we talked about earlier, because she's giving like a really good performance, being given kind of nothing to do.
Yeah,
like she's one of the friends from Halloween, you know, in a lot of ways. Like still a character with her own life, but like all of that is not coming from the movie; it's coming from the actress.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a con. I just know that the original cut of this movie was a lot more gory, and then they put it out and screen tests. People were like, "This is horrific." No.
And I think it was like it would never get an R rating the way it was shot.
Yeah. So I would like to see that version of this movie, but I don't know. I don't know if I can come up with a thing that I don't like.
This movie's not so gory.
I
think
agree.
it works for this movie. It doesn't work like when I watch a Friday the 13th and you can tell they cut out all the cool kill stuff. I'm like, oh, but that's what I want from this. From this, I want like a classy sci-fi film that happens to be scary.
I would say maybe Dallas's death could have been shown, but yeah.
Well, but that's because they didn't shoot it. You know, like even that has like a reason, like that once you know, you're like, oh, all right. Like,
But yeah, no. I think it's a really good story because you have Ash as an antagonist. You have the xenomorphs, but then you also have Weyland-Yutani, this company that basically set up this whole ship.
Most fun fact, Weyland-Yutani is also one of the evil corporations in Blade Runner. These universes are connected.
Oh.
In fact, I think in some of the sequels, people use the Blade Runner gun.
Oh,
Dang.
shit.
Yeah, because Ridley Scott was just like, oh, wouldn't it be fun? Because he never thought there would be a sequel to Alien.
Yeah.
Well, it took him like 6 years to make the second one, so
It's true.
I like that a lot.
What's your thoughts on Alien Covenant?
I didn't see Alien Covenant.
Okay.
I should say I do actually like Prometheus. I think it's fine. I like all the stuff with the robots. I actually find that more interesting than what they're trying to do with the aliens. So
is Alien Covenant the sequel to Prometheus?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've heard it's pretty fun.
I enjoyed Covenant. It's much more AI forward, but they use a lot more of the xenomorph than in Prometheus.
That's what I've heard. I've heard that it's one half Prometheus and one half 80s slasher movie was the way one of my friends described it.
It's all right.
Like real big, gory, over the top kills by an alien. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the one thing I thought when I saw commercials of Prometheus. I was like, what's the point of having an alien movie without the alien?
Feel it.
Well,
Agree.
that movie is asking a lot of questions that draw more on the things I think that inspired Alien. Dan O'Bannon, college friend of John Carpenter. They made John Carpenter's first movie that he wrote called Dark Star, which is basically what if Alien was kind of a sci-fi comedy. And it's not like super good. Like both of them have talked about like, I hate that movie. Because they made like, I think Dan O'Bannon described it as the greatest, most elaborate student film ever made. But like literally like the alien creature is like a beach ball with feet. Like that's what it looks like. When you find out they made the movie for like $1,000, you're like, this whole movie is super impressive. But then a major studio bought it and tried to release it as like a real movie. So he said, I'm going to move to LA. I want to be a screenwriter. And I'm going to basically write Dark Star as the movie it could have been. And he starts writing this movie with his writing partner. They start working on 2 movies. They work on Alien and Total Recall, which both get bought and made.
Yeah,
which is pretty cool.
Total Recall's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, it's the one on Get Your Ass to Mars.
That's the one where his like head like.
Yeah, so then he goes off to work on Jodorowsky's Dune. That project falls apart pretty famously. There's a great documentary about it.
Wait, can I share you a piece of trivia? Because this is interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
So on January 25th, 2017, Sir John Hurt became the first main character to actually die. Who dies first in the movie? Then September 15th, 2017, Harry Dean Stanton dies, the second character to die from Alien. I just think that's fascinating.
Wait, what?
So they died in that order in the movie. They died in real life in that order.
Well, I mean, most of the people are still. I think Yaphet Kotto passed away, but he threw off the order. So
damn it, you blew it.
God damn it! Somebody go kill Tom Skerritt.
And Sigourney Weaver will never die.
Yes. Matt makes Zach watch horror movies. Does not encourage.
Please don't. Please don't. Please don't.
Tom Skerritt.
Please seek help. If you have anything against Tom Skerritt and his beautiful beard, please seek help. But yeah, then this script kind of bounces all over for a while. He's already picked up a bunch of design people who start designing the movie for Dan O'Bannon. And he says like, look, it comes like pre-packaged. And then it finally gets picked up. They rewrite his script, but keep all the design people. Yeah, then they hire Ridley Scott, who's like a first-time director who'd done a bunch of commercials and things. He's one of the biggest directors in the world now. So, of course, he does a pretty good job.
Yeah.
He's one of those people where like even his worst movies are pretty watchable.
Yeah.
If your worst movie is Prometheus, you're doing all right.
Yeah.
And then the movie comes out and it's a huge hit. And we talked about all the behind the scenes stuff, the Who lights,
Ridley Scott's hands just going,
Yeah. If you guys need a good laugh after you watch this movie, if it's too much for you, look up the deleted scene where they were going to show the alien's full body. It's hilarious. Because it looks like a tall dude in a costume. And they clearly didn't know what to have him do. So he kind of crab walks. Where you walk on like laying backwards on your hands and you walk. He does that, but in the alien costume. But yeah, I love this movie. Any final thoughts?
I'm glad Jonesy's okay. Because I was already like on board with Sigourney Weaver, but like once she went back for the cat, I was like, yeah, she's my favorite, like hands down.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally a thing in script writing classes. There's a book called Save the Cat. Hannah?
Final thoughts? Anything you want to say?
Sigourney Weaver. I believe her. She changed my life.
Are these lyrics from that song?
Yes. But it's also true.
All right. So I think that wraps us up for Alien. Hannah, where can everybody find you?
You can find our show at Boozy Movies Pod. We're pretty much anywhere podcasts are found, called Boozy Movies. And you can join our Facebook group, Boozy Movie Drinking Buddies, where we share movie news and chit chat and do all that good stuff.
Zach, where can everybody find you?
At Zach Shirk, Instagram, ZachShirk.com. What about you, Matt?
You can find me on just about everything as I draw paintings or over on my Facebook artist page, Matt Merys.
And you can listen to Matt Makes Zach Watch Horror Movies on Spotify, YouTube, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts, and Stitcher. On the YouTube version, you can see Hannah's drawing.
Yeah, it's really good. So, Zach, what are we watching next week?
This is the final sci-fi horror of the month.
Yes, we're ending that theme.
Yeah. Nice. As we do every month.
Yes. Well, there was an extra day this month.
Extra week.
Extra week, whatever. It comes out on Thursday, Zach. Cut me some slack.
So next month, the Oscars are happening. So we're doing horror Oscars theme. So we're going to watch Jaws.
Yes, we are.
And
Alien, by the great lead-in, won the Best Visual Effects Oscar. We might have Hannah back for the one of the only horror movies to win an Oscar.
Yeah. So
lots of them nominated. Yeah.
Is it the only one to win an Oscar?
The ones that it won, yeah.
I'm sure you can figure it out, but Hannah might be back for that one because she said it's her other favorite.
Yes.
I can't wait to talk about Green Book with you guys.
I don't know what
That's
that means.
way too scary. The way he eats that pizza.
So on that note,
I got you, you son of a batch.
bye.
Bye.